All right, today we're diving into a concept that is really shaking things up in education, situaciones de aprendizaje, which you can think of as learning situations. It's this powerful idea about moving past old-school methods to get students ready for the world we actually live in today.
So let's just start with this big question right here. Is memorizing a bunch of facts really enough to prepare you for the future? I mean, think about it. In a world that's always changing, where you can look up almost anything in seconds, is just remembering stuff the most valuable skill? Well, this new way of thinking about education has a pretty clear answer. Nope. Not even close.
So here's our game plan for unpacking this. We're going to look at the new educational approach behind it all. Then we'll nail down what a learning situation actually is. After that, we'll break down the key ingredients, see how it all works in practice, and finally, get to the big why, the ultimate goal behind this whole shift.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the new educational approach. This is all about getting beyond simple memorization. And this is the first huge shift. The goal isn't just to fill students' heads with facts anymore. It's not about creating walking encyclopedias. Instead, the focus is on developing what are called key competencies. Basically, it's the ability to take what you know and actually do something with it. It's not about what you can remember, it's about what you can apply.
This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of the philosophy. The source material really hammers this home. We need to recognize the student as the agent of their own learning. That's a game changer. The student isn't just a passive bucket waiting to be filled with information. They are an active, hands-on participant in building their own understanding.
Okay, so if that's the big idea, how do you actually make it happen in a classroom? Well, that leads us right into our second section. We're going to look at the tool that makes this change possible, the learning situation itself.
Yeah, it's a great concept, but what are we really talking about here? What does one of these things actually look like? What is a learning situation?
All right, so here's the official breakdown. It's a tool for weaving different subjects together. But let's focus on the key phrases here: meaningful tasks and real-world problems. Students get to work together creatively to tackle a challenge that actually feels like it matters. I absolutely love this analogy. Just think of it like a flight simulator for life. You wouldn't want to fly with a pilot who's only ever read books about airplanes, right? No way! You want the one who's logged hours in the simulator. That's what learning situations are. Students don't just read the instruction manual. They actually get to fly by using what they know to solve a real problem. So that brings us to part 3. The key ingredients. What is the secret sauce that makes these learning situations actually work?
It really boils down to 3 essential pillars. To be effective, they have to be contextualized, they have to be relevant, and they have to be complex. Let's quickly break down what each of those really means.
First up, contextualized. This just means the learning has to be connected to the student's actual life. The problems they're solving should have echoes in what they see and do every single day. That makes the whole process feel real, not just like some abstract classroom exercise.
Second, they have to be relevant, and this is so important. The task has to connect with the student's own interests, their own experiences, and their own way of seeing the world. Because look, if a student doesn't care about the problem, the learning just isn't going to stick.
And finally, complex. Now hold on, complex doesn't mean impossible. It just means the answer can't be found with a quick Google search. The challenge has to be meaty enough that students need to link different ideas, think critically, and actually build some new knowledge to figure it out.
Okay, so we know the ingredients, but how does a teacher actually put one of these together? That's what we're covering in Section 4, taking this from theory to action. At its core, the design process starts with 3 basic steps. First, you've got to have super clear goals. What should students be able to do by the end? Second, you offer a variety of tasks within the project. And third, you use authentic, real-world resources, not just a textbook. And when you zoom in on a great design, you'll see a mix of students working alone and in groups. There's a big emphasis on talking things through, debating, discussing, creating together. And you'll see them using all kinds of resources, from websites to local news articles, often centered around big, important ideas like sustainability or community.
And that brings us to our final, and really our most important section, the whole point of all this, the future. Why does any of this matter so much?
I mean, just look at this comparison. It says it all, right? The old model often casts a student in a passive role, just memorizing things. Learning situations completely flip that script. The student becomes an active agent, focused on applying knowledge and creatively solving problems. It's a totally different ballgame.
And the impact this has on the students themselves is profound.
This whole approach is designed to build up crucial life skills. It fosters autonomy because they're in the driver's seat. It builds responsibility, critical thinking, and maybe most importantly, by empowering them to solve real challenges, it builds real earned self-esteem.
At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. The ultimate goal is to empower students with the skills, the mindset, and the confidence they need to tackle the messy, complex, and unpredictable challenges of the 21st century.
And that leaves us with this final, powerful thought. The question is no longer what to learn, but how to learn to learn. And that right there is the fundamental idea driving this entire transformation. Creating curious, adaptable, lifelong learners who are ready for literally anything the future throws at them.